This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today on this Wednesday? It is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. You're hanging out with us right here in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios, watching us on YouTube, on Facebook, or on Twitter, on the BamaCentral YouTube channel, or on my own social media machines at Joe Gaither 6. You can find us right there, or on your favorite podcast platforms. I appreciate you guys. Our podcast numbers up. So somebody's telling friends about the Joe Gaither Show, and I really appreciate that. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon, the Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central. And we are, of course, live in the Derek Daniels State Farm Studios. And today we are going to talk about three things as we usually do. We usually get 3 or 4 different topics, but 3 very obvious topics today. Topic number 1 with Mason Woods is going to be the college football playoff as the committee made its penultimate, really its final rankings before Selection Sunday. Next week's rankings are real. Its final setup. We'll talk about what they did last night with the college football playoff rankings. We will talk about what has kept us up, what has gotten us up out of bed early this morning. National Early Signing Date, Alabama college football Christmas. Lots of presents under the Crimson Tree. One Keelan Russell. How about a 5-star quarterback who looks like he has a cannon, an absolute missile?
Basically, every weekend I just see tweets. Oh, Keelan Russell, 5 touchdown passes against whoever. It's week in, week out, basically.
And they're not just, I'm sitting here in the pocket dotting you up. It's Keelan Russell, let me hang out, let me extend, extend. Oh, let me twist and spin, and boom, let me throw a 60-yard.
He had one, I think it was about 2 weeks ago. It was a 40 or like a 38-yard touchdown pass. And I mean, he's rolling out to his right. Guy is dragging him down by his legs. And as he is falling to the turf, he just reaches out and just flips it to the end zone and hits a guy right in the chest for a touchdown. Patrick Mahomes-esque.
Woo! Keelan Russell giving me wet dreams. So we will talk about college football, National Early Signing Date, and how it pertains to Alabama. And then we will finish today with a little college basketball as Alabama participates in the already done ACC SEC Challenge. It's already over. Night number 2 is beginning tonight. It's already done. ACC, you've lost.
Kentucky, come on.
Was it 9-1? SEC beat the ACC last night, 9-1.
Decisive victories too in most of those games.
So we'll see if I think pressure's on Alabama. Pressure's on to maintain the good conference record over the ACC. So we'll talk about that game as well as we get into it on the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral.com. We appreciate everybody who's watching us, who's listening to us. You can comment on the show. Send us a comment, question, query, or complaint at Joe Gaither 6 right here on our machines. We'll pop it up on the screen and respond to it. We want to tell you about our friend Derek Daniel. We're live in the Derek Daniel State Farm Studios. We're over here off McFarland Boulevard, just past the Tiger Rock on the left. You can call us today at 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Call Derek and his team, Red Reese and Victoria. They'll be happy to get you a quick auto insurance quote, homeowners insurance, life insurance. Look, if you have things that you care about, whether it be belongings or people, you need to make sure you're properly insured, and Derek Daniel can take care of you. So call him today at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today. So Mason Woods, they're putting out the college football playoff last night. They're putting the poll out, and we handled it on BamaCentral.com. We actually had 3 or 4 or 5. We had several stories on the college football playoff poll. 1, 2, 3, 4 last night. As they're reading them off, I'm just laughing at our conversation yesterday and all the conversations that I've had with my friends over the last handful of days. It's just well done. First off, college football playoff committee, way to not succumb to, the madness that is we only pay attention to the loss column. Now, still, some of the things didn't make sense. You only slid Ohio State, 2 or 3 spots after losing to Michigan. Obviously, I understand the logo bias, this, that, and the other, but I think that they have handled this relatively well, considering some of these good records, like with Indiana, versus some of the logos and some of the tougher schedules, like with Alabama, like with Georgia. I mean, Georgia had 5 and 10 and 2. They're right there. I was pretty happy with it. I mean, you're going into the last weekend. There's only a couple of more games to go. I was pretty happy with it. I'll have a few comments from Ward Emanuel that I have like little notes on that I want to address. But before we get into those comments, follow Mason Woods at MAWoods _. He's been working his tail off. We'll get into his big work in just a little bit. What'd you think of the college football playoff poll as you saw Alabama come in at 11?
Yeah, like we discussed it yesterday, I thought that was these are your best teams. These are your best 12 teams. This was Alabama is a better team than South Carolina. Alabama is a better team than Miami. I'm sorry, Miami, you won 10 games. That's really cool and all. You didn't win 10 games against anybody worth a damn. So, oh well. The committee chair, on the broadcast, he laid it out pretty much in black and white for you. Like, it is not really, there's no gray area here. Alabama was 3-1 against current top 25 teams. Miami is 0-1. Alabama is 6-1 against teams above 500, and Miami is 4-2. That right there is why you didn't make the playoff, Miami. You had the easiest schedule you could have in front of you, and you did not win all of your games. If you want to schedule a harder schedule, you may not have this issue going forward. Because if they look at it and they say, oh, well, at least they played some tough teams, then you're going to get the benefit that Alabama got here. But you have to schedule.
Well, they went on the road to Florida. They went on the road to USF.
We knew Florida was going to be bad this year.
They went on the road to USF, right? They went on the road to USF.
A home game, basically. South Florida, Miami.
They had 2 other bad games, right? Miami football. Let's see. It was at Florida. It was at USF. It was Ball State and Florida A&M. Florida A&M, junior college, not basically. And then Ball State, are they out of the MAC?
MAC, I believe. So it's right there for you, Miami. You only have yourselves to blame for not making the college football playoff this year. I don't think you have any real leg to stand on trying to point fingers at anybody else saying that you got screwed here.
They should have scheduled Central Florida. Central Florida.
That would have been a better game.
And who? Let's give them another game. Central Florida and FIU. Would that make you happy, or that's about the same? That's
Central Florida's good. They're Big 12 now, right?
We'll swap Florida A&M for Central Florida. You
go.
can keep Ball State on your schedule if you want.
Sure. If that happens, you probably have an argument here. That's another Power 4 win. UCF's not great. You have more of an argument though.
Right. They're Big 12, weird.
Yeah.
But they are.
You at least have more of an argument. You have no argument as it is right now because you played no one.
They played the Rattlers, aren't they? Florida A&M, the Rattlers. So they get left out right there at number 12, right? Am I reading that right? Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Where am I at? Yeah, right there. I've got like tabs everywhere. They get left out right there at number 12. It's 12 Miami. It's 13 Ole Miss. It's 14 South Carolina, which that part right there made me laugh the hardest because is it Brad Crawford? There's someone who's just been stumping really, really hard for South Carolina. And obviously Lane Kiffin in his notes app that we addressed yesterday dismissed South Carolina right off the bat, like in the first paragraph, based on losing to Ole Miss and Alabama. So you should be dismissed. And you got, we've won 6 games in a row. Oh, we beat Clemson. We beat this, good. You're having a good, strong season, and you do have a really, really good defensive line. But I just we were sitting here like, oh, why are they making such a hard, strong case for South Carolina when they lost to two of the teams in this discussion? It made me really, really love the committee for putting them forth in this list right here. Now, I will say on the flip side, if you go and you use the BCS rankings, if you use the old BCS system, you can get even more mad at it. I've got a lot of people who are oh, you're only getting in because of the helmet. You're only getting in because of the brand. No, Alabama's only getting in because of its schedule and beating South Carolina, beating what might be an SEC champion Georgia, beating Missouri. You've got 3 quality wins right there on your schedule that a lot of these teams in the current discussion in the 11 to 15 and the 11 to 20 range just simply do not have.
I saw a lot of Miami folks on Twitter kind of speaking to this like notion that the NCAA has gone out of their way to keep the ACC ranked lower than they should be in order to prop the SEC up and keep Missouri as a ranked win for Alabama. But to that, I would just like to point out, I saw someone make the argument that Missouri and Duke, both 9-3.
Right, I saw that. Continue.
Missouri won 10 games last year. 11 games last year?
10.
10 games last year? What did Duke do last year? I think they went like 7-5.
They fired their coach, didn't they? Or no, they lost their coach. No,
they lost Elko.
Elko had a good year.
They still went like 8-4, I think. 7. I don't think they were that good.
Okay.
That is why Missouri is getting benefit here, is because they were coming off of a very good season, one of the best seasons in Missouri football ever, probably.
Well, and you look at, let's just look at Missouri's schedule. We'll just play this out.
It was just such a ridiculous argument.
Who cares about Murray State and Buffalo? But you beat Boston College at home. Okay, that's a decent win. That's about the Power 4 win, ACC. And then you beat the mighty Vanderbilt Commodores. All right, you got blown out by A&M. And who cares about your win at UMass? I guess it's weird that you went on the road. But yeah, you beat Auburn. You lost to Alabama. You beat Oklahoma in a rivalry game. You lost close to South Carolina. You're gonna give them a little benefit of the doubt. You lost close to South Carolina, and then you beat the doors off of Mississippi State, and you pretty much controlled things against Arkansas, a team that's lower than. I think that's it. Look, you want to have an argument? That's a 21 to 28. That's a 21 to 31 ranked team, and you want to put them anywhere in that spot? Cool.
Yeah.
Let's pull Duke. Does Duke have any good wins with their 9-3?
I think Duke played Syracuse. I want to say I saw in that thread the freshly ranked Syracuse, only ranked because they did get the win over Miami.
Duke, we don't care that you beat Elon or Northwestern. That's a Power 4 win. Big Ten. You beat UConn. You beat MTSU. Great job. You beat North Carolina by 1. You lost to Georgia Tech. You beat Florida State like everybody else. You lost to SMU. You lost to Miami. You beat NC State, Virginia Tech, and Wake Forest. So this is a team. Yeah, this is a team where every chance that they had an opportunity to prove themselves as a top 25 team, they lost. So if we're looking at the facts here, it's a ridiculous They lost
argument.
to the only other contender, the only other contenders that they played in the ACC, Miami and SMU, boom, you lost. And then Georgia Tech, who's this other kind of middling, I'm in the 30s range, I'm in that 25 to 35 range of teams. Well, you lost 24-14.
Yeah, there's no argument there. Miami fans, it sucks.
And I'm happy if you want to debate actual numbers, that's a 27 range. No, give them whatever range you want. That's why we're playing ranges. Georgia Tech is probably in that 25 to 35. You lost. SMU, number 9 right now. You lost. Florida, Miami 13-14. You lost. You lost by 22. Now you lost in overtime to SMU, but Duke, you're 9-3 against Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. Okay, you beat Wake Forest 23-17. Do you remember what Ole Miss did to Wake Forest?
That tells you all you need to know right there.
Ole Miss got Wake Forest. What was the score? 40-6.
Yeah. Okay. Bingo, bingo,
Get out of here.
It's just like
there is no Duke beat Florida State. Great job, everybody did. 23-16.
And that's what Miami fans want to hang their hat on is they've underrated us all year. Look at who we beat. Come on.
This is a joke.
Stop crying. Go back to the drawing board.
Duke, the mighty Duke.
Hey, you still have Mario Cristobal. You're still pulling in a top 15 class this year. Miami will be okay. Just go back to the drawing board. Get back to next year. Maybe schedule some hard games.
Duke beat UConn, college football power at UConn, 26-21. They beat Big Ten super power Northwestern 26-20 in 2 overtimes.
Yes,
Like that's your 9-3.
Yeah, that's your 9-3 that you want to hang.
And
your
here's
hat
your
on
biggest issue, Mason, is the imbalance in college football. Right? You have fans just looking at the win-loss record and thinking that everything's created equal, and like it's simply not. And look, conference realignment has messed it up even further. I love the fact that Oklahoma and Texas are in the SEC. Ooh, like that makes us feel like big dogs and everything, but it's messed it up even further.
Absolutely.
The SEC schedule, I looked at it. Texas played 2, 6, like 10, 11, 12. 13, like their 8 games were against like all of the bottom,
the bottom half of the league.
Right.
Yeah.
6 of their 8 games were against
the one they played to Georgia.
Right. And like I do think Texas is good, but it's an imbalance issue throughout the. And look, Texas right there last night, number 3, right? 2. 2, 11-1. Like, good on you. You've beaten the bad teams, and that's better than I guess Alabama can say in some instances, losing to Oklahoma and Vanderbilt. But I don't know how good they are. Yeah, after you lost to Georgia at home, I'm really going to be curious to see what happens and how it plays out this weekend. Was the Georgia? I started watching the Georgia Texas game from October.
Yeah.
And I got into it, and I got into something else. But really, Georgia was shooting themselves in the foot right off the bat. It's just like Texas. And Texas had a big play that they had a big trick play that the kid dropped. So I'm going to be real curious to see how it plays out around 2.
Yeah, I'm still just I'm still not sold on the Longhorns. I just.
But the record's good, so great. Put them in there.
Yeah,
you deserve it.
But I'm just not sold on them as a team. They don't feel like a team that can grind out a tough win. They feel like a team that if they get up big and they keep
front runners.
Yeah. If they get up big, they're fine. You go up 2-3 scores in the first quarter, you're doing fine. They'll just coast the rest of the game. But you get in the cage match with Georgia in Atlanta in a couple weeks. We're gonna see what you're made of, Texas. We're gonna see what you're made of, Steve Sarkisian, Quinn Ewers.
I had a friend who I saw over Thanksgiving who used the word front runners for Alabama as well, and for Jalen Milroe. Oh, he's a front runner. When he plays good, when he gets going, it's a house of fire.
Hey.
And when Alabama, but when they can't when they get punched in the mouth, they get a little challenged. Oh,
a little bit. I think there's a bit of that attitude for sure. I don't know if it's necessarily team wide, but I definitely think just purely in Jalen Milroe's own head, he gets into that 100%. I mean, we have seen it time and time again. It's the moment anything goes wrong for him, you better start worrying like, okay, what else is going to happen here?
So, okay, you're all. Let's just keep this going. We're talking college football playoff. Alabama coming in at number 11. Is it right? Is it wrong? I think honestly they got last night's rankings pretty correct.
I think so.
I am very, very happy with one comment. I've got 2 comments that I want to get into. The one comment from Ward Emanuel, he says that the order of the 4 is set. The order of Alabama, the order of what? Alabama, Miami, Ohio, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. They're not playing this weekend. The resume is done. So let's hold that comment in our hands, right? They're not playing this weekend. The resume is done. Let's go to the second comment where he's talking about SMU and Clemson, where everybody's seeing the tea leaves and reading the tea leaves. If SMU wins, they keep Clemson out. Alabama stays in at 11. Boom, everybody's hunky-dory, happy. We're going home happy. We're going to the playoffs. We're going up north to some Penn State or Notre Dame, whatever. If Clemson wins, I think it's a pretty safe assumption to say that Alabama is going to be bumped out of the playoff.
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely. I think that's most likely what we would see happen because, I mean, looking at it here, that gives you, Clemson wins the ACC. They get that top 4 seed. You still have to worry about Notre Dame as an independent floating around in there. You still have to worry about, the other teams from the Big Ten, Ohio State, Indiana. So, yeah, there's just not going to be enough spots for Alabama. They really need SMU to win this game.
And so you get into this, and someone asked Ward Emanuel, what happens to SMU if they lose? Would SMU drop? Would SMU be punished? I think that's what it is. Would they be
Mhm.
punished for losing? I think that was the phrasing of the question. Would they be punished for losing? And his comment was possibly so. Or it's possible. And a lot of people took that to infer that they would drop SMU out in favor of Alabama, keeping Alabama in no matter what. That says, Alabama, you're in the playoffs,
Mhm.
and the winner of the ACC is a one-bid league. That's essentially what they're inferring. I don't think that's the case. I think that his comment, possibly so, or it's possible. I mean, what's punishment? 9 to 10, 9 to 11, 9 to 12.
That's fair.
They're all punishment where you're getting dropped.
Yeah.
I don't think you're dropping past 12 SMU if you lose. Now, I do think you are not staying at 9. I mean, obviously, if you were the ACC champion, you'd be at 9 and slotted at 3 or slotted at 4, slotted at 3, right? And if you are losing the ACC, if you're the ACC runner-up, you might be slotted at 11 and playing at 11, playing the 11 seed. Like, that might just be your fate.
Yeah.
And that might be a punishment in and of itself. I think people took it a step too far. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and we'll find out on Saturday if Clemson wins and if Sunday comes that Alabama is selected. But I will be surprised at that scenario.
Yeah, that it would surprise me. I think the only scenario that would not shock me to see SMU get dropped out is if Clemson just went into that game and absolutely dog walked them.
Sure.
You know, if that happens, then I can see it. You know, it makes sense. But yeah, I think SMU pretty much you should be locked in here. You just got to go win this game and bring Alabama to the playoff with you.
So Mason, let's make Football Friday this week about the ACC championship.
Let's do it.
Let's just pretend we're covering the Mustangs. We've been covering them all year. How many SMU players can you name right now without you going to your Google?
Not one.
Exactly, me either. I'm sorry.
I'll be honest, I don't think I've watched them play this year. I may have caught some highlights. You know, maybe caught them in a commercial break during another game here and there throughout the year. But I don't think I've sat down and watched an SMU game this year.
Yeah, nor have I. Let's see what their game logs, what their stats kind of look like, just for the fun of it, so we can get familiar with some of these teams.
I do know I think they had a quarterback swap at some point in the season, and things kind of turned around from there.
Rhett Lashley over there is their head coach. I did know that, and they did have a quarterback swap. Okay, Kevin Jennings is I think the current quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2,700 yards passing. He took over obviously from Preston Stone. Preston Stone threw 51 passes, and Rhett Lashley said enough of that. He was 30 of 51 for 421. But they're Brashard Smith, 1,100 yards rushing. And then Roderick Daniels, 500 yards receiving. They got a couple. Kayshawn Smith with 5 touchdown catches. Jordan Hudson with 5 touchdown catches. So that's a lot of fun. They got anybody with a lot of sacks? Anybody with some sacks here? Isaiah Smith, 6.5. Jafari, that's a great name. Jafari Harvey, 6.5 sacks as well. Go Mustangs, right?
I'm all in on it. I've never had anything against SMU. They've got some of I stand by this. I think they have some of the best uniforms in all of college football. They're absolutely beautiful, especially when they wear those throwbacks with the D logo. Oh, gorgeous. But yeah, no, I'm all in. Give me SMU. I'm rolling with the Mustangs this weekend. I'm a lifelong Mustang. Need to go get me a Chrysler or a Cadillac or something. Isn't that what they were driving in the 80s and 90s? You know?
Right. Well, let's just continue this. Shouldn't the SMU actually be good? Because they're dominating. Cheating. They're dominating in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, you're not
the death sentence.
Right. The NCAA basically ruined their program because they were doing exactly what the Texases and the Oklahomas and everybody else's of the world, but they were little old SMU, right? Now, maybe that's just conspiracy theory, but look, maybe what happens if the NCAA looks the other way like they do in other programs? Supposedly.
I think we would certainly see SMU in a much better place than they are right now.
What happens to SMU?
Now
Dallas, the Dallas money in the NIL era, in the ACC, we're in a Power 4 conference now. You can come to Dallas. I mean, Dallas is a beautiful city.
I've never been to Dallas.
Let's just be honest with
ourselves.
ourselves. It's a beautiful city, and I think that it's big enough for any flavor. So, like, if you're recruiting to specific interests, you can find it in Dallas, and a lot of money as well.
A lot of money. Hey,
Go Mustangs!
I like it. I think
Pony
it's
up.
cool, man. Bring it on. I would love to see another team join the A tier of college football and be one of these teams that can compete for titles.
Yeah, pony up. All right, so that's going to do it for. You got any other college football playoff thoughts before we get into recruiting?
I don't believe so. No. I'm interested to see what happens in this Big 12 championship, just out of curiosity. I'm curious to see what happens there.
Look at this path, though, for Alabama. At Notre Dame, against SMU. Like, if you win, against SMU in Atlanta, and then you get the winner of Indiana, Georgia, Texas in Dallas. Yeah, Cotton Bowl. And then on the other side, you'd likely get your winner of, that group: Oregon, Ohio State, Boise State, Penn State. Like, that's a brutal 4-game stretch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
if you get in, and you win, I don't want to hear anyone talk. That's what I'm thinking. Like, at this point, like, oh, you don't deserve it. Oh, look, everybody in the 11, 12, 13, 14, like, everybody in that spot has a messy resume.
Yep.
Alabama just has the crown jewels of ranked wins that other teams do not have.
Yeah, I mean, this is something I think we mentioned it yesterday. I think somebody had commented on the show, and due to the 12-team format, you are just going to have teams competing that are flawed.
Right.
You do not. There's not 12 perfect teams in the country. There's 4 or 5 teams that could be considered that. But then the rest of them, if we're going to have these 12 teams competing, you're going to have some teams that are flawed. It just is what it is.
Absolutely. And because of that, if you get in at a 12, at 11, if you get in whatever draw you get, and don't pitch a fit because you had you did it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are able to win it all, whoever, let's say it's Arizona State. Look at this draw for Arizona State. You go to Penn State and you're playing Boise State. I think that's going to be out the Fiesta Bowl. Like, that's not going to be easy. Obviously, it's in your backyard a little bit. And then you play your semifinal, right? Your semifinal against your winner of Oregon, Ohio State, Tennessee. So, like, whoever goes through this 4-game stretch or this 3-game stretch, if you're one of these buys, like, that's the champion.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. They're the best team in the country. Done. Crown them.
And that is what I think the 12-team playoff provides us with, a more concrete evidence of why whatever team wins it is the best team, because they went through such a gauntlet. When you go back to the 4-team, it was like, I mean, yeah, they won it, but I mean, did they really win a playoff? It was 2 games, So now that they have to play potentially 4, I mean, yeah, that solidifies you as a champion in my eyes.
All right, let's get into a national early signing date with Mason Woods, who's been working very, very hard for all his recruiting rundowns. But before we talk about recruiting, let me tell you about our friends Purple Turtle Roofing. They're the most reliable residential roof replacement company in Alabama and Mississippi. Whether it's addressing leaks, storm damage, or general wear and tear, Purple Turtle Roofing is going to be there to deliver exceptional roof repair for your property. Purple Turtle Roofing is the leading expert in local residential roofing solutions, specializing in providing unparalleled service and quality craftsmanship for all your roof replacement needs. Call Dustin Foley and his team today at 877-PT-ROOF-5 for your free roof inspection. That's 877-787-6635 to schedule your appointment, and one of their qualified employees will come check out your roof for free and make sure you're prepared for any and all of life's storms. You can check them out online today at roofturtle.com. We appreciate Dustin Foley and his team. And Dustin recently had a birthday, so happy 21st birthday. Wink, wink, nod, nod to Dustin Foley and Purple Turtle Roofing. Mason Woods has been hard at work right here on the Walsh Riding Network with Alabama on SI, with Missouri on SI, Miami on SI, Boston College on SI. It was college football's Christmas. Alabama is in the middle of signing a pretty nice class of 2025. Mason Woods, why don't you take it from here and tell the people about what you've been doing from a broad scope, and then narrow it down here from the Alabama perspective, what you think about the class.
Yeah, so this morning, I think I mentioned it earlier in the week, we had anywhere from around something like 80 to 90 stories go live across the 4 sites. Each school had anywhere from I think the school with the least amount of commits was like 18, and my Boston College had the most with 27. So
good job, Bill O'Brien.
Hey, yeah, good job, Bill O'Brien. Obviously, not everyone signs in the early signing period, but as the trend kind of goes now, the vast majority of them do, and we saw that today. For all 4 of those schools, the vast majority of their commitments signed, went ahead and signed, locked themselves in for next season. Going to the Alabama side, though, I mean, you mentioned it. This class, there's a lot to be excited about for this class. Right now, they're ranked number 4 in the country of 247, number 2 on 3, number 4 on Rivals. So they're still in that top 5 range. Could potentially find themselves bumping up into that like 2-1 range if they can get some of these flips that have been rumored to them. We will see. I'll get into that in a little bit more. But just some of the guys that signed today, I mean, right off the bat, one of my favorite guys, and this is not my solidified favorite, but he's right there, and it was very hard for me to pick between these two. Marshall Pritchett, tight end out of Raven Gap, Georgia. He, flipped his commitment from North Carolina to Alabama. I think it was back in October, maybe early November. And that dude is just a freak. Watching his highlights, seeing what he's done. I talked about it a week or 2 ago. Maybe he led his team to a state championship this year, first in school history. Caught the game-winning touchdown on the final play of the game, like storybook ending to his high school career. He posted a nearly 10-minute blocking highlight video on Huddle. It's absolutely incredible. I think this guy's going to be a stud. He catches everything that gets thrown at him. He's 6'6", so he's I'm very happy, very very excited about what he can do. And then my absolute favorite guy, though, that I have to talk about.
Yeah, that's who we want to. We're about to. Yeah, favorite prospect in the class,
Lotier Brooks. He is going to be electricity every time he's on the field. He's the fastest guy in the country. He is I think, the best receiver in this class. Pair him up with Keelan Russell. That cannon arm, I mean, it's just going to be barbecue chicken.
Why is he? I mean, he set the New Jersey state record as a junior, but he's still not really highly recruited, rated. Excuse me, not really highly rated. He's sitting here at or down on my list here, Brooks. Still a 3-star on 24/7 Sports, which is weird to me. The composite obviously has him as a 4-star. He's considered the 5th overall player in New Jersey, the 29th overall player, overall wide receiver in the class. And for a kid who's been so electric, and the highlights are so high, what am I missing about why he's not rated? Like, okay, I see 5'9", 170 on the listing, and I think that's really small. But we've got a good nutrition program. We can beef him up a little bit. He's probably not going to get too many more inches of height. You kind of are what you are almost at that age. I mean, another inch or maybe 3.
Well, you can definitely get into that 195, 190
What am I
range.
missing?
I don't know, to be honest with you. Like I said, he is my favorite player in this class. I have watched just about every highlight I can find of the guy. He's just electric. Like, he is awesome with the ball in his hand. He is he is the smoothest route runner. He, gets in and out of his break super easily. He operates in the slot mostly, obviously being only 5'9", but he can stretch the field with how fast he is, and he just burns dudes. Like, I get, you mentioned it, the size is, I guess, a concern. We've seen up to this point now plenty of smaller wide receivers have a lot of success in college football. So I don't really think that that's something that a lot of people are worried about. But I guess, 5'9", 170, that is small. So I guess some teams maybe look at that and think, little wary of it. And, he does play in New Jersey. Say what you will about New Jersey high school football, I guess. I mean, it's not Louisiana. It's not Texas.
Tyler Booker played there.
Yeah, they've had some good players come out of New Jersey. But I think as a whole, they maybe don't get quite the respect.
Gio Venemark played there.
There we go. But it is strange to me. It's I don't know. I don't really have an explanation for it, honestly. I would have expected him to get the Bama bump like they do, like the people talk about.
Very odd to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he still had a really good year this year as well. Like,
yeah, I mean, he had this is junior year. Yeah, over 1,200 yards as a junior year, 22 touchdowns, and he also 32 tackles, 6 interceptions on defense. Like plays both ways. He is a receiver.
Right,
Alabama
I wrote his
brings him in to
numbers.
play receiver, but he is. It's kind of mind blowing to me that he has not been. I don't know if you necessarily want to give him a 5-star, but to keep him at a 3-star is kind of crazy.
Senior year, 48 catches, 1159, and 14 more touchdowns. Total, 4,500 yards, 4,514, and 62 touchdowns. And I think he's still in the play. I think they're still in the playoffs. So, like,
I don't know.
You're just getting a steal?
I guess.
You're getting the steal in the class?
I get, someone knows something that I think me and you do not, I guess. I don't want to speculate on what is maybe keeping him ranked down that, but it's got to be
because they're all 5-stars in my eyes,
Hey,
Mason.
amen.
Everybody's a 5-star.
Hey, did you see what I think it was HaHa Clinton Dix going out on Twitter talking about, he retweeting players talking about their those stars
Michael
don't
Carroll.
mean anything. Stars mean nothing.
Michael Carroll, who I think might be the Tyler Booker of this class as far as just your mean interior lineman. Michael Carroll is like, oh, blessed to be
That's
a
what it was,
5-star
yeah.
on all 5s, all 3, all whatever. It's on all 3 sites, right?
Mhm.
On 3, 24/7, and Rivals, right? 5-star. And HaHa Clinton Dix is like, oh, enjoy it now. Your stars don't matter when you get here.
Mic drop.
Do you
All
think?
right, man.
Do you think that is the motivation for these Twitter designs for the Alabama? Because all these, they're announcing, Keelan Russell, they're announcing Jackson Lloyd, they're announcing, Luke Metz, whoever, Latia Brooks, whoever they're announcing all throughout the day, and they're using like mannequins.
They look like Picasso paintings, kind of. Like the faces are shifted around. It's got weird angles. Like they're all like kind of angular and boxy looking. If you have not looked at it, go to the Alabama football page and check it out because it is strange. But I didn't even like really consider that because obviously there is some sort of theme that they're trying to portray here. That could be what it is.
They're getting a little burned on Twitter, but the people aren't really understanding it. And look, I'm
in
not
the same
hip
camp.
either.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I don't hate it, but it's obviously not resonating. If you understand what the message is, my first thought was nameless, faceless opponents because they've been using that for some of their opponents, but it's like, oh, you're not an opponent anymore. I wonder if it's kind of like once you get here, you just kind of assimilate to the A. You just kind of you got to fit into the group. You got to
weird.
It was very strange.
That is, yeah, especially if I'm not a recruiter. I don't talk to these kids every day, but I would not think that that's necessarily the attitude that a lot of them are holding of just, I'm going to get in here and I'm going to get in line and I'm going to shut up and keep quiet. Like that seems like a very strange message to try to portray to the kids that you're welcoming into your recruiting class, welcoming into your program, hoping will be the building blocks going forward of your program. But yeah, I don't know. It's swing and a miss here maybe by the Crimson Tide social team. They're usually pretty on top of it.
Usually
one of the best in the country.
And there might be something that I just don't get.
It's because there's just got to be something we're not privy to.
All right, let's talk about something else in recruiting as it becomes a signing day. You realize what just got set up for the next 3 to 4 years. 3 to 5 years. Or will we see this at all? Because you know how recruiting is with NIL and with the transfer portal. But Auburn just signed Deuce Knight, right? Deuce Knight was committed to, was it Texas A&M beforehand? No, Notre Dame. Excuse me, Notre Dame. He was committed to Notre Dame. A 5-star kid out of Mississippi.
Warning.
Yeah, big time recruit. 6'4", 205, supposed to be the real deal.
Cam Newton. That's what I've seen. I don't believe it, but that's what I've seen.
Supposed to be the real deal. Obviously, Alabama signed Keelan Russell. Will we see them on the field against each other, or will one of them hit the portal before we can see it?
I hate this so much. I hate this
because look, is Keelan Russell? He's early enrolled.
Deuce Knight's playing for Auburn next year.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I mean, I'm just we can get that out of the way. He will be the quarterback for Auburn next year. The question is Keelan Russell. That is our question: is who is going to be Alabama's quarterback next year? And
will Keelan Russell get on the field before Deuce Knight is gone, or will he transfer out of Alabama? Because I really like Ty Simpson. I really like Austin Mack. I think it's probably Simpson 51%, Austin Mack 49%.
Yeah, it certainly seems like Ty Simpson is not going to be run off anywhere. I don't know if you saw, he did an interview with Roger Hoover a few weeks ago, and it like laid it all out. You know, he's Bama bred, bleeds crimson and white, just like everybody else.
So we're slapping the red shirt. Yeah, we're slapping the red shirt on Keelan Russell in 25. Okay.
That's going to be a hard conversation to have with him, though. He's a very talented player.
And then we're playing Austin Mack versus Keelan Russell. Austin Mack, Dylan Lonergan, and Keelan Russell for the 26 and 27 job. At that point, I mean, Austin Mack will have his years as well. Is it a one and done situation? Anyways, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Yeah, but this is hard. Man, I don't. Because I really like Austin Mack, and I, in my heart of hearts, believe that he is probably going to win this job next year. I think he's going to beat Ty Simpson out. However, it's just a weird situation moving forward, because if he does beat Ty Simpson out and plays great this year, he will be back for another year, obviously. And then that's one more season you're going to have to tell Keelan Russell, sorry, buddy, we can't get you out here. We got another guy who's tearing it up. I don't know. It's going to be really hard to keep him in Tuscaloosa if that's the case. So maybe Alabama's best hope is that Ty Simpson wins this job. Austin Mack gets 1 year, and then we just go to Keelan Russell. Maybe, I don't know. It's going to be very difficult, and that doesn't even. Deuce Knight could also just transfer away from Auburn after 1 year.
That's the other part. Like you look at it, he goes, he has 9 touchdowns and 12 interceptions or something, and
Hugh Freeze blames him for every loss.
Yes.
Throws dirt on his name at every opportunity he gets.
Let's just say he and Cam Coleman like the same girl on campus or something. Like, anything can happen.
Is Cam Coleman staying?
Anything can happen.
Yeah. I hope, and I pray that we get to see the two of them square off in an Iron Bowl. And it's going to be like, I don't know, anybody I'm like super connect. I watch way too much Twitter, stay online way too much, so no one's going to know what I'm talking about. But the video when the Cardinals hired Jonathan Gannon a couple years ago, and he came in and he was day one, he pulled up to the receiver. When I see you, all I see is pew, 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 missiles. That's what it's going to be when they take the field together. It is just going to be absolute piss missiles from both of them every snap. And I need it. I need it in my heart of hearts. But I don't know if we're going to get
Keelan Russell to Ryan Williams. I mean, Ryan may be long gone.
Yeah, Ryan will be gone at that point, maybe.
No! Ryan Williams was on Keelan Russell's Instagram Live today as he signed.
Which is, I mean, interesting to me. Maybe it's just get the player to talk to the kid, whatever. But in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, is Ryan Williams going to be really trying to campaign to get Keelan Russell to be the starter next year? And is this going to maybe cause some issues if he's not?
Maybe. You never know.
Seems like they're pretty good friends.
I think that Ryan Williams is going to be campaigning for whoever can get him the ball efficiently.
That's probably fair.
Whoever can make him forget about this Iron Bowl performance.
The worst game of the year for him.
Dropping the touchdown on the goal line. Like we complained about the offensive performance, but golly, Ryan was as much a part of it as anybody. Dropping a touchdown, fumbling right on the edge of the red zone, right in the red zone.
35, I think it was.
As the offense is trying to get going, it's not a good day for the 17-year-old, but that's okay. That's okay. There will be at least 2 more Iron Bowls for Ryan Williams as we continue on in the program. Any other? Oh, you said your favorite recruit is Latia Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
I like that pick. He's in my kind of top end. I love Keelan Russell and what he brings. But my favorite recruit in this whole class is Jackson Lloyd.
Brawler.
Yes, I think Jackson Lloyd is your quintessential modern day offensive lineman. He's going to be, barring injury, which we hope every player stays healthy, right? Every player, especially as the high school age, right? Everybody stay healthy. But his prototype is that of, I can be an NFL 15-year veteran. He's 6'7". He's right at 200, right at that 290, 320 range.
And he's a very, very athletic looking 290.
Yes, exactly. I played basketball and baseball as well. To have 290, is that what I wrote down? 6'7", 280, 6'7", 290. Okay. And it is lean, mean, fighting machine. It's impressive.
Yes.
I can dunk a basketball and make it look easy. I can swing a baseball bat and stroke it way over the fence. I can get to the second level and block any linebacker you want. The safeties aren't going to get around me. Aren't quick. Keys. Oh man, what are we looking at with the offensive line here? Is he going to be a play for right tackle?
I mean, given what you've seen this year,
it's been so bad.
Yeah, I would say anything's on the table going into going into the spring.
It's been so bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, we like to be positive, but and maybe
we are
too much of
exaggerating a little bit. Like, it's not like they're just like so horrible, but like they have been pretty bad.
The Oklahoma game, you might as well play with four offensive linemen.
Yes.
You should have played with four.
They looked like my Titans every Sunday.
You should just play with four and said, Jalen, look, you're playing with four, figure it out, buddy. Like, right off the bat, instead of telling him that you're playing with five and every other snap figuring out, I'm playing with four. I'm playing with four.
I mean, yeah. I mean, they've got who else they have back there waiting in the wings?
Wilkins Formby, Wilson McVay, Elijah Pritchett, they're all going to be there.
They're
going to be developing. I think Olas is a guard, and I think he might be a starter. I think he's going to be in contention to be playing.
Who else? I'm blanking on names now.
Casey Poe, Joanne Nada. You've got William Sanders. Those are the three freshmen from last year who are all. Maybe they're all more interior players than right tackle. Probably so. I think probably more likely to be centers and guards than tackles. Maybe Casey Poe can play tackle.
Just looking at what they've got, I think you might be on it. I think he may be one of those players as a true freshman. He's pushing.
Bringing in Mike Bowes from Viger. You're probably going to lose Ty Haywood. He's not signing today. For everybody who's paying attention to signing day, he probably will be signing with Michigan in the regular signing window. I mean, still a chance for Alabama.
Dave Portnoy had anything to do with that one?
Start again?
Did Dave Portnoy have anything to do with that one?
Absolutely. Dave Portnoy said, Bryce, so who are your favorite guys? This guy? That guy? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. What a turd. Oh, yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it on recruiting.
Yeah, that's about all I've got. Like I said, Bama signed all of these players I think are going to be pretty great. I feel there's not anybody in this class that I was, perplexed as to why they signed them or anything like that. I think all these guys are solid. I'm excited to see what a lot of them can do once they get on the field.
Well, we will continue to follow it on BamaCentral.com, Alabama on SI, Mason Woods. How many did you say across the 4 sites? 90?
Yeah, I know there was up to, I think, 91. So I don't think all of them got posted because obviously not everyone signed in the early signing period, but we're right in that 80 and 90 range. Stories got posted this morning.
So lots of profiles across the Walsh Writing Network. You can obviously read the Alabama profiles on Alabama on SI, your home for the Crimson Tide. You can read Missouri, Miami, and Boston College if you like our style and you want to keep up with some other colleges as well. We're going to wrap it up by talking about tonight's big basketball game, Alabama and North Carolina, the ACC SEC Challenge.
You see.
But before we do, we want to tell you about our friend Derek Daniel and State Farm. We're right here in the Derek Daniel State Farm studios. We've been here for about a month and change, 2 months now. We really love it being here, getting connected to you guys here in the Derek Daniel State Farm studios. Call Derek and his team, 205-758-3391 for all your insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, Derek and his team are there. They've got a great building right above us. We're downstairs. It's easy access right off McFarland Boulevard. Red Reese in Victoria, they'll be happy to talk to you. Very, very nice folks about all your insurance needs. If you've got a simple question about your policy, or if you really are shopping around, looking to save some money, or looking to see what kind of rates are out there, see what kind of coverages are out there, Derek and his team will be happy to talk with you. Call them at 205-758-3391. Call and see how much Derek can save you today.
We're at DEFCON 1. Did you see this? North Carolina is busting out the throwbacks tonight.
Ooh, okay.
This is not good. This is disaster. They're so beautiful. Nice cream with the blue hits, the Tar Heel logo on the shorts. Yeah, this is bad. This is bad news for Bama.
Oh, Jordan era throwbacks.
This is bad news.
No,
it's
gonna
bad
be great.
News.
You know what this is? What's the recent record? Hasn't Alabama won 2 or 3 in a row against North Carolina?
I think so.
What it is they don't want to make it 3 or 4 in a row. They lost in the Elite Eight, right? They lost in the Phil Knight Classic. I think that he's got him 3 times.
They're 5-5 in the last 10, but I'm trying to find a more recent. Here we go. Yeah, they got 2 wins against them. One last year. Or 1 2 years ago, one last year, and then a loss in 2019, 2020.
What was that loss?
That was in the Bahamas. That was in.
Okay. All right. So that's Nate's first or second year. So you've won the last 2 though.
Mm-hmm.
You've won the Phil Knight Invitational out in Oregon
in 4 overtime.
Oh my gosh, what a brutal game! And then you basically kind of ran him out of the gym a little bit in the Elite Eight towards the end of it. Grant Nelson's big old game towards the end of that game. Am I right? Am I wrong on that? Did I just make that up?
It was a 2-point game, but I'm trying to remember like how the scoring happened, because I do feel, and I was also thinking that it was kind of a decisive win, but now that I'm looking at it, it's not.
It was only 2 points?
Yeah. 89-87.
Whoa. Butter my biscuits. Hey, I'm sorry. I thought it was a comfortable. Maybe I'm thinking
maybe they were
else.
up big and they let them come back.
Yeah, but I do remember that Nate Oates left 2 or 3 of those guards way unguarded from 3, and they made a couple at the beginning, and then they stopped making them. I do remember that aspect. Yeah, they got up because those guards started making them. Is that right? I know Grant had 20, 25 points.
Yeah, the Bama went into the half down 8. Outscored them by 10 in the second half. So I think they just.
Yeah, that's exactly what. Okay. Yeah. They made those 3s early, and Grant really dug in. Man, so you're pulling out the Jordan throwbacks because you're scared Alabama's going to make it 3 in a row and win in your house.
It's going to be a sweet matchup just uniform-wise. I wish Alabama would come out with a red version of their throwbacks that they released last year. Please give us the red throwbacks. Please, the crimson throwbacks, please. How many times do I have to ask? Please.
Carolina 4-3.
Jersey.
4-3 this season. But look, every quality team they've played, they've lost. They lost to Kansas 92-89. They lost to Auburn 85-72.
And that's the only game I've watched of them this year.
And they lost to Michigan State 94-91. Mr. Kenneth Pomeroy has the North Carolina Tar Heels as his 16th best team. He currently has the Crimson Tide at 10. Mr. Kenneth Pomeroy has the North Carolina offense as the 6th best offensive rating in the country and the 65th best defensive rating.
Okay.
For comparison's sake, Alabama 3rd in offense and 53rd in defense. So better in both categories. And adjusted tempo, I think this is it's possessions per 100. I think it's what it is right. So Alabama's 4th in tempo, and North Carolina is 8th in tempo, but they're very, very close. 73.3, 73.4. So really close in tempo. Nate Oates yesterday saying that they go faster than Alabama. I don't know if that's technically true. Obviously, the numbers say that that's not technically true. Maybe it's just a perception issue. Really, shoot.
They
Alabama,
play very similar styles.
Alabama's been slower in these bigger games, which has been unfortunate to see. So tonight, you're going to have a really fast game up and down the floor.
Should be pretty high scoring, hopefully. Should
Oh man, Coach confirmed the bad news
be.
yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
Confirmed
I hate that so
Latrell
much.
right cell has torn his ruptured his Achilles and will miss the rest of the year.
Silver lining, I did see that they were petitioning for maybe a medical red shirt. I don't know. I saw some speculation that he has maybe played just enough to where he can still get one. So maybe the NCAA will grant him that, and he doesn't have to, miss a whole year of eligibility, and can come back next season.
I think that he is under the threshold. What I took, Coach Oates was asked about it yesterday, and I'm sitting there. What I took was Coach Oates knew that it was a possibility, but they haven't even talked about it with Latrell yet. I think that's what I took from it. Was.
I mean, yeah.
I think he was like, I think he's under the number.
Okay.
But he's having surgery. I think today. I think today. He's having surgery, and we just want to get him through surgery and get him on the other side of that, and get him once he starts feeling a little better than that. We'll probably address and see. I think he was, man, pretty brokenhearted.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, we try to be objective on this show, but it's very hard. Me and you talk about it, but it's
he's
really
a
hard
good guy.
Yeah, I just like Latrell. He seems, he's been mic'd up a couple times. He seems like he's just a very fun guy to have on the team. Seems like everybody really, really likes him. It's tough. I hate that for him, and I hope if that is the route he wishes to take, that he can get his medical red shirt and maybe come back and not have to waste a year of eligibility. But if he decides not to, that's okay too.
Chris Youngblood, very unlikely to play tonight, but he's okay. Still waiting on him to come on back, and he's got all season long to come on back. It sounds like we will see him in action against Creighton. So you'll get a little, you lose Latrell, but you get Chris Youngblood. It's not a one-for-one swap. Obviously, different players, and you never want to suggest someone can be replaced by another. In my opinion.
But he should hopefully be able to help alleviate some of that loss.
Of course. That'll help a little bit, for sure. All right, so we watched Alabama lose late to Oregon. Terrible goaltend call.
Still mad about it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's, you shouldn't have been in that situation, but still.
Got to keep the pace up. Got to play good defense tonight in Chapel Hill. I think that no matter what, it's going to be a hellacious night to be on the Twitter machine, just like last night, because if Alabama wins and rolls, you're going to, it might be a great night for you on Twitter because Alabama folks are going to be really enjoying it. But you're going to have a huge comparison, a direct, it's going to be so sickening. You're going to have a huge direct comparison to whatever you do tonight to what Auburn did to North Carolina. So Auburn beat
ran him out of the gym.
85-72 in Maui, so in neutral site. But you beat the brakes off of them. You were up 8 at halftime. Auburn beat them in the second half by 5. Their team stats, let's see. They didn't turn basketball over very much, did they? Only 8 turnovers for the Auburn Tigers. They got into the paint, 32 points in the paint. They were outscored in the paint, 32-36. But pretty good game for Auburn. From 3, they were 11 for 30. So that's very, very helpful. North Carolina only made 6 of 16. And then Auburn dominated the glass 42-36, only allowing North Carolina 7 offensive rebounds on the day. They said, I've got 3 keys for Alabama's victory tonight, and I'll invite you absolutely to chime in on them. And if you have any, you don't have to have a nice round number of 3, or you can go to 7 or 10, whatever you feel like. But here's the 3 things based on what I've seen out there in Las Vegas and what I think the team's kind of going through at the moment. I have 3 things that Alabama needs to do tonight to win in Chapel Hill.
I have a feeling it's going to sound like ever so slightly similar to what we talk about with the football team.
One of these is directly in that. And it's the turnovers. It's the first one. Look, basketball, your turnovers are going to happen. That's just a natural part of the game. I'm not going to sit here and say don't turn the basketball over at all. But I have a magic number, 13. 13 or fewer. 13 or fewer turnovers on the road. You can split them up however you like, but I'd prefer you split them up something like 7 and 6 in each half, just nice and evenly dispersed. Don't turn it over 13 bleeping times in the first 5 minutes, like I felt like they did against against Oregon.
That was basically their MO the first 10 minutes of that game, which is how many times can we turn it over? How many errant passes can we make? How many lazy throws can we take?
So, like, evenly, like, I'd really like the number to be like this Auburn number, 8, 4, and 4. Like, let's be efficient with the basketball because talent all over the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Just get the guys some shots. Get the shots towards the rim.
Yeah.
If you miss, you miss. Okay, but in each possession with a shot, please.
We can live with misses. We cannot live with turnovers.
13 or fewer. You think that's a fair number?
I think so. I don't think that's unreasonable. I think it's anytime you see Alabama get into that, 15 to 20 range, those are the games where we're sitting there biting our fingernails the whole time because they probably aren't going to win it. So, yeah, 13 feels fair. I mean, like you said, I'd love to see even less, get them into that 8 to 10 range. But I think with 13, that you're still winning a lot of basketball games if you're only turning the ball over 13 times a game, especially with the amount of talent on this team. I do think they just kind of get them all. Everybody's got to lock in a little bit. It's just, it's like they get into this just pickup ball too much. And it's just, oh, we're all out here having fun. Everybody bouncing around. And it's like, I get that everybody has fun and you're all very, very good at basketball and you're all the best thing since sliced bread. That's cool. But just lock in a little bit. Let's be a little more serious. Let's maybe run some sets. Let's maybe do some things and not just freestyle out there all the time.
Number 2 for me, Mason Woods, at least 3 Mark Sears 3-pointers on the game. Mark last game 1 of 11 from beyond the arc. Now he did still score double figures, 11 points. So it's like it wasn't a horrific Mark Sears game, but no Latrell Wrightsell this time. And obviously for the rest of the year, you're waiting to get a little more help from Chris Youngblood. He's going to give you a veteran presence and a really good shooter, so that will be helpful. You've got the stroke back from Jaron Stevenson, so like you're going to have some help. But Mark, we need at least 3 3-point makes. Let's see, he's made three or more in 1, 2, 3, 4 games this year, and shockingly, Alabama is 4-0 in all 3 of those games. Now, obviously, 2 of those games are against, Nathan East State and UNC right Asheville. But we're making 4 of 8 against Houston. Okay, we're making 3 of 9 against Rutgers. All right, but you're 1 of 6 against Purdue. Not good. 1 of 11 against Oregon. Not good. We need at least 3.
Yeah, I think getting him going not only puts points on the board, but it gets the rest of the team going as well.
I think I love Mark, and goodness gracious, so happy that he has come back. But my one criticism of Mark so far in these, 8 games this season, is that I feel like he's trying to let the game come to him a little too much. Now, some of that may be a defensive look that he's getting that I don't understand because my basketball knowledge is, elementary, 101, 102, right? That may be it, but I feel like he is trying to. I got to get. Then I got to get Latrell involved. I got to get LeBaron involved. I got to get Jaron his shots. I got to get into the lane and distribute. I think some of that is the case. I'd like to see him maybe just get his a little bit more.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would be good for him. I think it would be good for the team because we have said it countless times. These are all talented players. They all know how to play basketball. You don't have to baby them out there, Mark. You don't have to, be this like guiding hand to get the ball to everybody. Like they're going to get open. They'll create opportunities for themselves. Sometimes you just got to focus on and get yours.
Yeah, I think if he does go ahead and get his, that's going to
everything else.
The defense is just going to we got to get Mark Sears. We got to overcompensate even more than they already were with the game plan. I think most of these teams are probably game planning to stop Mark Sears. So you got to get them into that game.
Get it. Make them stop him.
Number 3 for me is keep LeBaron Philon going out in Las Vegas. Only 1 point against Houston, only 4 points against Rutgers. Not really good games in either of those instances. 0 for 3 against Houston and didn't take a 3-pointer against Rutgers. Just not so hot. Now, he did get it going against Oregon. He had 15 points against Oregon. He was 2 for 2 from beyond the arc, and you did lose. But I think, especially considering what has just happened with the team and these early good games from LeBaron, 10, 12, 18, 16, all those in his four of his first 5 games, I think you got to have double figures and aggressive LeBaron. Same sort of way that we said about Mark. I think that LeBaron, when you got the ball at the top of the key, we're getting to the cup, baby. We're getting to the cup, and you are forcing the defense's action, whether it is I'm kicking out to Jaron Stevenson or back out to Mark Sears, making Mark Sears a catch and shooter. Oh, that's what you want. Or Aiden Holloway, the catch and shooter, because I think that Aiden is a good catch and shoot guy. I think Jaron can be as well. So you got to get into the paint. You got to be, I mean, I know you're a freshman, but you got to be physical tonight. It's going to be tough. RJ Davis, RJ Young. RJ Davis, RJ Young. RJ Davis, excuse me, RJ Davis. RJ Davis, he's averaging 18 points a game, 18 and 4 with 4 assists as well. Veteran guard, right? And Seth Trimble as well, veteran guard. So these guys are going to be bigger figures, used to the college game. It's going to be harder to get in the lane. I think LeBaron's really effectiveness on the offensive end is going to go a long way to getting Grant that open wing shot or that open lane, fold over, getting other guys involved. I think you got to be really smart with the basketball. Again, 13 or fewer turnovers, but LeBaron, you got to get into the lane and you got to be assertive.
Yeah, I like that. I think we've seen him in, spurts this year be that kind of aggressive player, and he gets to the rim, and he is a really elite finisher in and around the rim. And even if he's not finishing at the rim, he's dipping it out to somebody else. So, yeah, I would love to see more of that from him because, like you said, it's just Oregon. He was good in that game, but the 2 before that, he was almost non-existent on the court. It was not the LeBaron we saw in the first 4 games. If we can get that guy back where he's flying around, making plays, making plays on the defensive end, getting loose balls, making plays on the offensive end, getting assists, scoring points, that will help just make the whole team go.
6:15 tonight on ESPN. Alabama is a 1.5-point underdog.
That's the uniform right there. That's the uniform bump.
What do you think, Mason? Are they going to go in there, Chapel Hill, and get another Nate Oates signature win?
I think they are going to do it. I think that Oregon game was pretty ugly. I think they're gonna probably fix some things from that game. Obviously you lose Latrell Wrightsell, but I think with a week of practice maybe of not having him out there, they've hopefully been able to figure some things out and can get some other guys involved a bit more. And I'm excited to see what happens. I think I'll say 92-89.
I'll take your exact score,
but flip it.
But I think North Carolina is going to win. I think that 2 in a row is enough for North Carolina. They'll get a friendly whistle maybe, and maybe get a nice roll with the rims.
Certainly has been happening to the Tide this year.
Get a nice roll with the rims and just have a. I think
it's those uniforms. I'm telling you.
Well, I just think that the team has more to work out. Not that they're bad by any means.
No, but they've got some things to figure out, I think.
Yeah, not that they're bad, but these November games, and I think North Carolina, they also have some things to figure out, and I think that this will be an opportunity for them to put on a good performance at home.
If they lose this game, you're in a pretty bad spot if you're North Carolina. You've lost all of your good games this season pretty much, and where do you go from here? I mean, you because ACC conference play is coming up pretty soon.
Exactly. This is their. Oh wow! This is not their last game before conference play starts. They've got a couple more non-conference games, but it's sprinkled in. They've got Alabama, and then they have Georgia Tech. Okay, then they're back in non-conference: LaSalle and Florida, UCLA, Campbell. And then we're going into a full ACC schedule, so that's very weird. We're gonna play. We're gonna play Georgia Tech on a weird December. I wonder if that's just a one-off event that I'm not really aware of. Let's see this: Georgia Tech, ACC Network. No, in the Davis Center, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, in the Smith Center. No, so that's going to be strange. They're playing. I guess they'll play a conference game and then play 4 or 5 more non-conference games before ACC play. But you're pretty much right. Outside of Alabama, your schedule is Florida and UCLA left on your non-conference schedule.
So this is it could be a turning point of the season for North Carolina if they can get this win, or it could be a turning point negatively if they get if they come out with a loss.
Florida at 8 and UCLA at 18 on KenPom. So those are your last two kind of quad one games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, losing this game puts the Tar Heels in a bad spot.
Because of that, I think that
they link it out.
Oh,
yeah,
that's gonna hurt my heart. All right. Follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. You can follow the show at Joe Gaither 6 on any social media that you like. The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. We see you downloading the show. We appreciate that so much. You can follow my friends, Derek Daniel and Dustin Foley with Derek Daniel State Farm. Call Derek and his team at 205-758-3391. And Dustin Foley and his team with Purple Turtle Roofing. Call Dustin and his team at 877-787-6635. We have had a lot of fun so far on the Joe Gaither Show this week, and we will be back to talk to you tomorrow about what happened in this Alabama and North Carolina basketball game. We'll talk more football discussion as we set up the ACC championship. Go Mustangs!
Pony up!
We'll get out of here for the rest of the day. Talk to you again tomorrow right here on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, BamaCentral.com.